Aloha mai kākou, a kama mai to Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Stan Honda is a New York-based photographer who has worked as a photojournalist for 34 years, most recently for Agence France Presse, AFP, the French news agency, covering a wide range of topics including news, events, politics, economics, sports, and human interest stories. His images from the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center were featured prominently around the world, and 3 of his photos are in the 9/11 Memorial Museum in New York City. AFP assigned him to photograph the space shuttle program over a 5-year period. Mr. Honda considers this the highlight of his time at AFP, since he has been following the space program since childhood. Mr. Honda's astronomy-related photos have also been featured in the New York Times, USA Today, NationalGeographic.com, Sky and Telescope, and Yahoo News. His photos have been selected 9 times as NASA's Astronomy Picture of the Day. Stan has conducted night sky photography workshops in New York City, Rocky Mountain National Park, Flagstaff, Arizona, and the Grand Canyon. He has been interviewed by CBS This Morning, National Geographic, and ABC News about photographing celestial events. A project which combines his interest in astronomy and photography is his documentation of our need to preserve our views of the night sky at several national parks, including Grand Canyon, Petrified Forest, Wupatki, Rocky Mountain, Chaco Culture, Fort Union, and our own Haleakalā. Mr. Honda's work is the latest exhibit at the Maui Arts Cultural Center's Schaefer International Gallery, entitled Infinite Night. It features Mr. Honda's 29-day residence on Haleakalā in 2019 and some of his work in other national parks and a wonderful series on a video screen of New York City. Mr. Honda stayed on Haleakalā for the entire of the moon cycle. About Haleakalā, he said, quote, "The night sky from Haleakalā National Park in Maui is nothing short of stunning. The high-altitude locations often are above the cloud level. At sea level, tropical trees sway beneath the stars. This sacred landscape has given birth to stories of ancient and modern Hawaiian culture and protects the bond between the land and its people," unquote. The first photo you will see when you enter the gallery is one of the Milky Way. 2/3 of the mainlanders never see this because of light pollution. It is a magnificent image, and at the walkthrough, Mr. Honda brought Teresa Fernandez, the bilingual educational technician for Haleakalā National Park, and she told us what the Hawaiians call the Milky Way.
But, you know, Hawaiians are also very playful, so I really appreciate the name for the Milky Way. That's Ira Lele Iaka, which is this fish playing in the shadows or jumping around. So.
Then Mr. Honda, who seemed genuinely enlightened by this description, showed us the fish.
Yeah, when I saw that description, I thought that's a description of this picture. I mean, you can sort of see the head of the fish as it's arching or maybe playing through the sky.
The next image is one from Kalahaku Overlook of the sunset and moonrise simultaneously. Mr. Honda explained,
"This is from the Kalahaku Overlook, where many of the pictures from Haleakalā were taken. And on this particular day, this is the day of the full moon. So the full moon is rising over on the right-hand side of the picture, and the sun is setting almost at the same time. I had a few minute window to do this panorama photograph, and it eventually worked out. I wasn't sure if it would work out, but it did work out. So I was kind of amazed to get both the moon and the sun in one picture, as one was setting and one was rising.
You can see the curved shadow of the Earth projected onto the atmosphere around the moon in the east as the sun dips below the horizon. This photo is of stars streaking across the sky. Here is how Mr. Honda described it.
And this is actually a picture that was taken over a period of about an hour. You might have seen others, essentially star trail pictures, photographing the stars as they're moving across the sky. And of course, the stars aren't moving themselves. It's we're moving. The Earth is rotating around its axis, and the stars appear as if they're rising and setting in the sky. And this is from Hosmer Grove up on Haleakalā, and I'm looking toward the summit. And I think this is one of the things that I try to do is to show a sense of movement in pictures. And this is a case where a still picture can show the movement of an object, but also over a period of time. So sort of showing two different things. And with the digital cameras, the best way to shoot something like this would be a whole series of individual pictures taken over a period of about an hour. And then I assemble that on my computer, and each photograph would be part of the star as it's going across. And so a star will go this distance in about an hour in the sky. The little lights that you see on the mountain here are headlights or taillights of cars.
This one is called zodiacal light. It is visible only from very dark locations after spring sunset and before fall sunrise. Particles along the plane of our solar system, illuminated by the sun, produce this glow. The cone of light falls along the path of the zodiac constellations, or the ecliptic, the general path that the planets sun and moon take through our sky. Mr. Honda was surprised this phenomenon was visible despite the bright lights from Maui. In Moon-Earth Shadow Haleakalā 2019, we see the full moon rising surrounded by the curved shadow of the Earth projected onto the atmosphere by the setting sun. Mr. Honda explained this phenomenon can also occur just before sunrise, looking west when the sky is clear. A'a is solidified lava. Here, Mr. Honda has focused on the center of the galaxy from inside the crater, with Ialele Ia'aka prominently featured. Mr. Honda is an artist, and this photo, Ni'u Haleakalā 2019, was taken in Kipahulu, with the coconut palm silhouette and the magnificent night sky is a superb example of his artistic ability. The angle that he has chosen has an almost vertigo-inducing feel to it. He said this was, quote, probably one of the darkest night skies he had ever seen. A'e plants grow right out of the lava. This is a shot by moonlight on Haleakalā. Of course, it wouldn't be Haleakalā without our endemic Ahinahina. This was taken in the crater under the waxing moon. Mr. Honda also is showing a few selected works from his other national parks projects. This one of pine trees at Bear Lake and Rocky Mountain National Park reminds me of Ni'u from Kipahulu. But where the tree was the star in Ni'u, here it's the Milky Way. This geyser from the Ojo Caliente hot springs on the Firestone River in Yellowstone National Park captured a magnificent moment featuring the Big Dipper under a waning moon. It almost looks like the Dipper is going to take a ladle full of geyser. This is the Great Kiva in the Chetro Kettle Great House in the Chaco Culture National Historic Park, New Mexico, under a waning moon. This is probably from the 13th or 14th century. This kiva, which means room, was likely used for ceremonial gatherings and political meetings by the Puebloans. Here is the Milky Way with an almost Halloween-y feel because of the dead lodgepole pines in silhouette in the foreground. This was taken in 2018 in Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park. His New York City nighttime images are on a video screen with a bench in front for sitting. These are some of the best images I have ever seen of New York. Infinite Night is on Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. until October 22nd. The gallery is also open until 7:30 p.m. for select Castle Theater and Yokkaichi Pavilion shows. Admission is free. Gallery visitors are no longer required to show proof of vaccination and photo ID, and masks are optional. Admission is free. Don't miss it. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Mahalo nui loa for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho.